You ever watch a show that just wrecks you, not because it shocked you, but because it saw you? That was Weak Hero Class 1 for me. I went in expecting the usual, gritty school drama, maybe some sharp fight choreography, a brooding lead, the works. But what I got instead was a slow-burning heartbreak. A gut punch wrapped in silence, stares, and emotional implosions. At the center of it all was Seun, this quiet, calculating kid who never wanted trouble. He wasn't chasing popularity or power. He just wanted to exist. Alone, undisturbed, maybe even invisible. And I got that. That instinct to withdraw, to control what little space you have when everything else feels unstable. It's painfully relatable. But then came Byung-suk. Byung-suk. I didn't hate him. I really didn't. Maybe because I saw a bit of myself in him, or at least in the situation he was in. The one who always tagged along but never really fit. And that feeling? That ache of invisibility even when you're surrounded by people? It messes with you. So when I watched Byung-suk spiraling, craving importance, begging to matter, I got it. I really got it. So watching Byung-suk go down that path? It wasn't just frustrating. It was heartbreaking. And then there's Seun's unraveling. Not with a dramatic scream or some cinematic collapse. No, just bloodied fists, a blank stare, and a silence so loud it still rings. That wasn't a hero's moment. That was a breakdown in real time. That was pain without the dignity of closure. And the friends, Suho, they weren't just side characters or backup muscle. They were anchors. And when those anchors were ripped away, everything, and I mean everything, crumbled. Season 1 didn't end in revenge. It ended in ruin. Real, bitter, human ruin. But maybe that's why I loved it so much. Because it didn't try to make trauma look cool. It showed what it really costs. It didn't flinch, and by the end, either could I. So here's where things change. Weak Hero Class 2 walks into the room with a very different energy. And that threw a lot of people off. Gone is that suffocating spiral of betrayal and despair. Season 2 doesn't hit you with the same emotional gut punch. It leans more into aftermath. Into healing. Into what comes after you've been broken. And that makes it quieter. Slower, in some ways. But not less important. This time, the focus shifts almost entirely to Seun. Which makes sense. He was the emotional core of Season 1. But now he's at the center of his own recovery arc. He's not just fighting others anymore. He's fighting himself. His rage. His guilt. His trauma. Now I'll admit something here. I was a little nervous at first. I thought, without Byung-suk, can this even work? And then Season 2 showed me, it wasn't trying to recreate the same tragedy. It was trying to grow past it. You know how most sequels try to go bigger? Louder? Like, let's top that heartbreak with even more trauma. Weak Hero Class 2 doesn't do that. Instead, it asks a quieter, scarier question. What do you do after the worst already happened? Season 2 doesn't start with vengeance. It starts with absence. No Suho. No Byung-suk. And Seun? He's still standing, technically, but everything inside him feels hollow. He's not trying to fight anyone. He's just trying to exist again. And honestly, that hit me harder than any punch ever could. Because grief like that doesn't scream. It lingers. It follows you into classrooms, onto rooftops, into the quiet moments when no one's watching. And that's where Park Jihoon really shines. You can feel the weight in his silences, like his body showed up, but his soul hasn't caught up yet. The world around him has changed too. Eunjang High, new alliances, tougher enemies like Na Baekjin and Jeom Sung Jae. The fights are still brutal, maybe even more so. But they don't feel like battles for dominance anymore. They're emotional. Every hit, every block, every swing feels like a cry for help, or an apology, or a refusal to fall apart. And then there's the shift, the subtle, beautiful shift, where Seun, who once ran solo, starts to trust. Not easily. Not all at once. But you see it. With Hoomin. With Juntae. With himself. It's not about becoming a new person. It's about letting somebody in, just enough to keep going. By the time the credits roll, you realize Season 2 wasn't about winning a new war. It was about surviving the fallout from the last one. And sometimes, that's the braver fight. Let's talk about Park Jihoon. And let's give him his flowers, all of them, because what he's doing in Weak Hero is not just good for an idol actor. It's just good, period. Now look. We all know the stigma around idol actors. They're often handed lead roles way too early, their performances get dragged for being stiff or expressionless. And to be fair, sometimes the criticism's earned. Some rely on their looks or lean into melodrama because they haven't learned how to trust silence. But Park Jihoon? He weaponizes silence. From season 1, he came in with that blank, almost robotic face, eyes locked in, barely reacting. And at first glance you think, oh no, here we go. Another wooden performance. But then you watch. You really watch. And you realize, he's doing something kind of masterful. Because that face? That monotone delivery? It's not a limitation. It's intentional. It's armor. He's not giving you nothing. He's giving you everything, but it's buried in the eyes. In the slight twitch of a jaw. In how his shoulders tense before a fight, or how he flinches when someone touches an emotional nerve. That boy's a walking pressure cooker. In season 2, it gets even deeper. Seun isn't just quiet now, he's haunted. You can tell he hasn't slept. He moves like his soul is on a delay. It's in the way he walks, like his body is dragging itself from point A to point B because there's nothing pulling him forward anymore. And the loneliness? That quiet ache in his eyes? It hurts to look at sometimes. There's a moment early on, no music, no dramatic framing, just him alone in a room, breathing, thinking. And somehow that says more about grief than any monologue ever could. What Park Jihoon nails is the in-between, the tiny shifts in emotion that real people carry but don't always show. A character like Seun could easily become a caricature, the cold genius with fists of fury. But Park never lets him flatten out. He's cold, yes. But he's also terrified. He's kind. He's guilty. He wants to be okay, he just doesn't know how. And that's the real trick, isn't it? Making stillness feel loud. Other actors would have played Seun with big breakdowns, clenched fists, and shouting matches. But Park Jihoon plays the silence between the words. The emotional static. And he trusts us to listen closely. If season 1 showed us he could hold his own, season 2 proves he's in a league of his own. Idol actor or not, Park Jihoon is giving one of the most compelling performances in Korean drama right now. Period. Alright, let's address the mid in the room. Season 1? Was a straight-up gut punch. Every episode was like sitting on a ticking time bomb. You knew it was gonna go off, but when it did, it still knocked the wind out of you. It was betrayal, pain, and emotional breakdowns wrapped in brutal, tightly edited fights. It wrecked people. And in that weird K-drama fan way, we loved being wrecked. Then season 2 dropped, and it didn't punch you in the face. It looked you in the eyes and asked, now what? There's no shocking heel turn. No Byum-suk going full Joker. No Suho swooping in at the last second. And I get it. A lot of fans hit play expecting the chaos to level up. Instead, we got silence. Guilt. Long pauses. Fewer fists, more hesitation. And some people called that boring. But here's the thing, it's not boring. It's grief. Season 2 doesn't want to one-up the pain. It wants to sit in it. To ask, what does it take to keep living when everything you cared about already exploded? Even the fights are different now. They're not about dominance or survival anymore, they're about meaning. Seun hesitating mid-punch? That says more about his arc than a flashy slow-mo kick ever could. This time, he's not just fighting others, he's fighting himself. And yeah, let's talk about the Suho of it all. I love Suho too. His bond with Seun in season 1 was the beating heart of the show. But that's why he's not here now, because the heart stopped. This isn't about riding off into the sunset with your bestie. This is about learning how to breathe again when you're standing alone. Honestly, this reminds me of when a show matures, but the fandom doesn't want to grow up with it. We wanted another emotional collapse, But what we got was a quiet, uncomfortable, necessary story about recovery. And recovery isn't cinematic. It's awkward. It's lonely. It's slow. But if you've been through it, you know it's everything. So no, Season 2 doesn't wreck you like the first one. It sits with you. It lingers. It bruises, instead of breaking bones. That doesn't make it mid. That makes it real. Let's be real, Season 2 could have coasted. Bit could have doubled down on pain, betrayal, shock value, rinse and repeat. But it didn't. It had the guts to do something harder. It asked, what happens after you survive? What happens after the breakdown, the trauma, the violence? That's why Season 2 hits differently. It opens with Si Eun dreaming of what came before, not just the friendship, but the collapse of it. He wakes up haunted. Still sleepless. Still dragging himself from one day to the next like he's got bricks strapped to his limbs. There's a new school, sure, but the ghosts followed him. And now there are rumors that he killed someone, which gives him this reputation as a cold-blooded monster. Irony? Si Eun can't even kill a conversation with his mom. And Park Jihoon? Let's give the man his flowers. The way he weaponizes stillness, it's unreal. He's not delivering your typical idol-turned-actor performance. He's not performing sadness. He is sadness. That dead-eyed stare, the way he walks like his soul needs a nap, it all says what the script doesn't need to. It's subtle, internal, and painfully effective. And then there's the new crew. Seo Juntae, played by Choi Min-young, has this natural puppy energy that you can't fake. He tries to connect with Si Eun after being defended from some truly next-level school bullying. Seriously, where are the teachers in this universe? Juntae's soft kindness chips at Si Eun's walls. Slowly. Gently. Add in Hoomin, the sunshine counterpart to Si Eun's storm cloud. He's all teasing smiles and easy punches. Honestly? It's a vibe. Ryan plays him like a human reset button, and the dynamic is pure gold. It's almost like Batman reluctantly teaming up with Superman, if Superman threw hands and a wicked grin. Together, they're not just allies. They're the anti-Byum-suk arc. 4 guys, 1 group, and for once it feels like maybe, just maybe, Si Eun's not destined to be left behind again. And yet, he still tries to leave. His mother offers a clean slate, go abroad, start fresh. And Si Eun almost takes it, until that phone call. When Juntae tells him Suho's fall wasn't his fault, Si Eun breaks. That one line cracks through a year's worth of guilt. And for the first time, he chooses to stay. Not out of obligation. Not for revenge. But because someone believes in him. That's the kind of growth you don't get in every sequel. Band then comes the Baek Jean situation. A new antagonist, not just a brute, but a broken mirror of Si Eun himself. Their shared link through Hoomin becomes this twisted triangle. Baek Jean doesn't want friendship, he wants possession. He wants control. He wants to own Hoomin's loyalty the same way he owns fear in that school. And then there's that hospital dream sequence, Si Eun face to face with the ghost of Byum-suk. That scene? Probably one of the most emotional moments in the series. Not flashy. Not violent. Just 2 broken boys confronting everything left unsaid. And Si Eun chooses to walk away, to go back to his friends, even knowing it might mean more pain. Because Season 2 isn't about being untouchable anymore. It's about choosing vulnerability. That final fight? Messy. Raw. More survival than style. And it works, because it's no longer about pride. It's about protection. Hoomin fights until he can't, and then Si Eun steps in with a plan that risks everything. And then Suho wakes up. Full circle. If Season 1 showed us how easy it is to fall, Season 2 shows us how hard it is to stand back up. And that is why it's not just good. It's special. Weak Hero Class 1 was about survival. Season 2 is about recovery. It asks, what happens after the trauma? After the betrayal? Can you really move forward? For Si Eun, that answer is yes, but not alone. This isn't just a story about school violence. It's a story about broken boys learning how to breathe again. And if Season 1 broke your heart, Season 2 shows you how it can heal. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, And if you cried during episode 7, you're not alone.